in replay mode as people join us today over on LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. We are excited that you are here because we are going to be talking about having fun with your content. I think the title that you had given it, Steph, is like, if you're not having fun creating your content, then no one else is having fun watching it. And so how can we do that? So just very quickly, my name is Elizabeth Doss. I am a social media consultant, and I'm also an animated GIF artist. My GIFs have been viewed over 6 billion times, and I help brands and businesses do the same and leverage that weird little corner of the internet where they can have animations to react with, respond with, etc. My clients have had over 4 billion views at this point, so I would love to add you to that list and get you your own library of GIFs to be able to interact and react with, which is another fun way to make content, right? Anyway, so I'm going to hand things over to Stephanie as I push all the buttons.
Oh, yes. Yeah. And I'll be joining you pushing the buttons just momentarily. Well, hello, everyone. Having some fun is important because burnout is real. And when we overthink, we overcomplicate, usually, right? So, getting back to the basics is the basis, the premise of today's conversation. I'm Stephanie Gillis Paulgard. I'm the brand architect behind Take Roots Consulting, and I help businesses, nonprofits, yes, through that PR and marketing on the traditional side, but also hashtag own your weird, have some fun, interject all of these other little elements we're going to talk about today to really build that brand awareness, connect with people on and off a line, and using those tools, yes, AKA social media, that are free to us to really help us reach out into community, attract the people that we want to work with, and let them see a little bit of our personality at the end of the day. That's really what it's all about. What we see online, oftentimes people get confused, right? I have many conversations, Elizabeth, with people, whether it's at networking events or we're in the middle of Zoom chats with clients, and they're like, but I don't know how to show up online. I'm like, but just be you. You shouldn't be one way online, and then when people meet you in person, they go, well, that's not really the vibe they were giving, or wait, they didn't hit the mark, or I had an expectation and I was kind of like perplexed when I met the person for coffee in a real live coffee shop. So be you. People do business with people at the end of the day, and so if we can inject some fun in our content, and it doesn't always need to be fun. There's some serious things that we need to talk about. We want to establish ourselves with some credibility, with thought leadership. Yes, we're trying to attract clients into our world, but we're also probably trying to build an online community. And when you're scrolling, what makes you stop? Right? It is those funny gifs. It is those memes. It is the real parts of social media. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So you've been pushing some buttons. It's my turn to push some buttons. So take it away, Elizabeth.
Exactly. Yes. We, it I think that sometimes we get so stuck in our heads about this image that we want to put out into the world, and that we forget to have fun and to tell the story and to show off that little bit of humor, because you just never know what part of what you share or you reveal about yourself through humor and through fun that could really connect with your audience. Because what we're trying to do is to create community. And one thing that I know about that is having your own inside jokes is a really great way, and to review those and to remember those. And so how can you do that digitally, except that you're including people behind the scenes of the story, so they get it when it comes up, or when it's a nod. So one thing Steph does really well with her content, in the theme of the coffee side of things, is she not only explores the deliciousness of coffee, but talks about the humor around why she needs it. of picking her forehead up off the desk. So it's I think my internet might be slowing down just a little bit. Okay. But But anyway, so it's that idea of how can you include people in those idiosyncrasies. So I did see Richard had sent some stuff in the chat, and his pink shoes. I mean, it's a part of his iconic self. In fact, it's a part of his brand now to have that bright pink color. And so he plays with it and has fun with it. Like when he was getting ready for the awards show, he did a reel about trying to pick out the pink what shoes he was going to wear, but they were all pink. So okay. So but anyway, so it's that nod of like people understanding. And so what it does do is anytime I see a pink shoe, I'm going to think of him. When I think about when I see every time Steph, every time I see a funny sign for coffee, or I'm on Pinterest and a coffee one shows up. In fact, there was one, I'll try to see if I can find it before I come back on. But I think of you. And that's the whole point of this is how can we have these little things that we think of each other in, and how can we incorporate that and tell those stories to bring people a part of you, a part of that brand. I'm gonna go find that coffee meme really quick for you, Steph, so I'll hand it back to you.
Yeah, no, thanks. Yeah, and that's what's been such a delight over these last, I really will say, in the last couple of years. And it probably started, on our during our time on Clubhouse when we would have these conversations over there,
Yeah.
and people would really be interacting hard. It's an audio only platform, so then it was like, okay, well, here, how do we get to know these people a little bit more? Well, you're following them on different platforms. And this is not to say that you can't show up yourself yet differently, if that makes sense, on the
Yeah.
different platforms. You also don't need to be on all the platforms. Get really good, pardon me, on one before you have to jump onto another one. So the way I show up on LinkedIn, I'm still talking about coffee. I'm still
Yeah.
I'm still talking about those things, but visually it might look different than the funny reels that I play on Instagram, or if I'm doing an Instagram story because I'm out, out and about. Canadian joke. Um, we don't actually talk like that. But anyway, this is the thing, right? It's like these little pieces of who we are, sharing them out into the world. And how do we inject some fun? So last week I took a mini vacay. So thank you, Elizabeth, for allowing me to step away and kind of recharge and reboot. And I was in Vegas. So, hello. There was lots of fun happening, just walking around on the strip. A lot of that content I haven't even, well, basically, I disconnected for the time I was away. And I'm looking forward to now recreating or sharing out some of those stories with all of the content that I captured. And what you constantly remind us of, I believe it was your friend Sean that shared this with you several months ago. It's the notion of documenting.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking about. Okay, like I want to remember these moments, but I'm not going to share them out right now. I'm just gonna be present for what it
Yeah.
is. So again, lots of things, and I could have scheduled some posts while I was away, but I just really totally disconnected. The week before that, I had the pleasure of attending a conference here in Alberta. But Gary Vaynerchuk, or Gary V, as many people know him, he was one of the keynote speakers, and clearly I basically bulldozed people to get to sit in the very front row, to be there amongst a few thousand people and listen to him. And he just reminded, like, he's so real, and I think that that's why it connects to so many people. He doesn't care what you think. You can like him, you cannot like him, repurposes. He just doesn't care, and so I think that's part of the discernment of when we think about showing up on social media. It's like we're always worried about what people are going to think. And even when I say, well, I don't care, there's always a part of me that cares.
Yeah.
But when you made the reference to Richard's pink shoes, like you, that's a direct connection that I make to him.
Yeah.
Every time I see a GIF, well, clearly this is your world, Elizabeth, but you were the one that introduced me to the notion that I can spark this joy in people. I, like you, have whole conversations with people via text. using gifs only. How do you do that? Right. You speak GIF fluently. Like it is true. It's real life. It happens. So how do you inject those pieces of you into
Mm-hmm.
how you show up online?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I just love it, right? And of course, Gary Vee, yes, no surprise there. He was a great speaker.
That's awesome. Very, very cool. Okay, I found the meme. I don't even know if you're going to be able to see it, but it says, "Don't talk to me until I've had my potion of weight gain."
That's a good one. That's a good one. And actually, just as you were showing me this, believe it or not, I heard coffee beans hit the machine. They're going to be
Oh.
ground in just a moment, and then the caffeine, the latte will arrive, and
Okay,
it
so let's
is
let's break
mine.
this down. Let's break that down for just a minute, because what you want when you're creating content that connects with people, you're wanting to harness these moments that are universal. And it may not be coffee for somebody. It might be something totally different. But there is a part of Stephanie right now that she could capture this moment if she would just take a little bit of time to journal down her thoughts about what she feels on the inside when she hears the coffee beans being ground in the next room. Like, and talking
Well,
about,
yeah, I mean, I
yeah,
started to drool a little bit. No, but it's
not gonna lie,
right.
not
Yeah,
gonna
not
lie.
gonna lie. Facts. Hashtag facts.
Yeah. And so talking about, so what you can take is this idea of specifics and universals. And so a specific is the coffee part of it, but a universal is what is that thing that when you hear the of whatever, you're popping the top, what are the sounds in your life that bring you joy? Maybe it's the pitter patter of feet. Maybe it's your cat, this cat that's at my feet. It's not my cat, but it wants my attention. So if you see my screen shaking, it's because I'm on a tray table and she keeps hitting it and rubbing her face on it. Um, I may pull her up and I don't know which one this is. That's Cookie. Um,
It's a surprise.
well, because they're identical sisters, and but one of them has a kink in its tail. So
Oh,
one of
that's
them is Cookie, and one of them's Kinker Tail, and so her name's Kink, and so that's the only way you can tell them apart is that one of them. Well, Ruby can tell by their eyes, but I'm with my nieces today. So, but this idea of the universal, so of what are the things that delight you, and how can you capture that and convey that with your audience? Because they may not do coffee, but
right.
maybe it's tea, maybe it's a milkshake, maybe it's I don't know what I know we're on beverages apparently, Steph today, but
And not
normally
cake
it's
pops.
candles,
What
but
happened to the cake pop strategy? Yeah, and all of those
yeah.
little pieces that you always talk about. But that's exactly it, right? It could be the love of books. I know
Yep.
many people like they could spend like some people binge Netflix on the weekends. Other people binge reading books, like and literally can get through two books in a weekend. I'm impressed, by the way. That is not me. Audiobooks maybe for a long run. But that's the thing. It's like what is there's so many ways to break this down. Yesterday, no, was it? Yeah, it doesn't matter. A couple of days ago, as I was leaving the Las Vegas airport, I don't know if anybody else does this when they're traveling, but they go into the little trinket stores that has everything branded from the city that you're in or traveled to, and it has everything from the t-shirts to the coffee mugs to you name it. They've got it, the keychains. And in this particular case, there was a stack like hanging bags, gift bags. All right. Now, I love I love these gift bags. I took several photos, so I documented
Jamie,
each
can
one
you open that
because
door?
they were brilliant. But at the same time, what I did is like, I'm not sure exactly how I'm going to use this yet. Well, I waited a day, and then at the end of it, what I did was I made an Instagram story. I put the picture of the four bags. I actually added numbers via gifts one,
Yep.
two, three, four, and asked which one was their favorite using the question sticker. And the amount of engagement in something as simple as that, injecting a little bit of fun, and one of my favorites of those four bags in the picture was literally, this is the least I could do. And it's written on the bag, right? Put the thing in the bag. Another one was, I'll keep it if you don't like it. And it was just funny, but it's this
Yeah.
engagement of connecting with people outside of what it is that maybe you do for a living, the service, the product offering that you have, but connecting to people in a different way. Because, like I
Yeah.
said at the beginning, we know people do business with people. I know
Yeah.
I'm not for everyone. And even though I say I'm fully caffeinated most of the time, and coffee or special lattes are my thing, well, Richard would say, tea is his thing, right? He's not a coffee, but does he engage in that content? Yes, but he also, the way he engages invites a conversation. So flip it while we're talking about creating your content and injecting fun. How do you interact with other people's content to still inject that same piece of fun or your personality to again start perhaps these online conversations that can then be moved offline? Just a few thoughts. As again, I'm very
Exactly.
coffee, be prepared.
As it's continuing the ritual of
Yes.
the coffee. Um, so this idea of um interacting with other people's content, this is one realm that I absolutely love to do, is to take what someone is talking about, maybe and find the perfect gif. Now some people, you do have to work on your muscles for your gif game, I do believe, or your meme game, whatever you're trying to do. But one thing that I love to think about in dissecting this and trying to break it down, okay, how do you find the gift that you want to add? So I have come up with this thing, and I need to probably like make a name for it or do something with it, where when you're searching for the right gift for something, and because you're wanting to react, because on Instagram, on Facebook, you can actually react with gifs. There's a little sticker button in the gift, in the comment section of any Instagram post. So maybe somebody posts something and you want to react, but it's funny and you want to show off your sense of humor, or one of your favorite TV shows, or that quote that or something. If you hit that little GIF button, now what do you type in search? So a lot of times I'll either search subject for subject. So if they're talking about ice cream, I may just type in ice cream in the GIF search and just post whatever ice cream thing I find. By the way, anytime you add search terms into a GIF search, it's going to serve you up a different set of GIFs. So if you don't find what you want in that first section, add, an octopus eating ice cream, like, or whatever is very specific. And there might be a gift for it. If there's not, come talk to me and I'll make you one. But I'll do subject for subject when I'm responding, or I'll do thought for thought. And so here, Ruby made you assign stuff real quick. Here, come get in the picture, Ruby. She wanted me to send this here. I'll let you see Ruby first. So you smile into the face. There you are. Okay, so it says love coffee, do not hate coffee. And there's a little mushroom on the coffee cup, which is adorable, because I
That
think
is so great. And on cue, Ruby, my
come here, Ruby.
latte has just arrived.
Her latte just got there. Her coffee just came. Can you hold it up at the camera, Steph?
Can you see it?
There
Yeah.
it is.
Can you see even the latte art?
Oh yeah,
I'm
see the little
kind of
heart?
spoiled. I get it at
Yeah.
home.
Her husband
Yeah.
makes them at home. She doesn't even have to go to a store to get one.
Wow.
I should train
Yeah.
Uncle James. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
A horse jouster, if you know what I mean, from that one thing.
Horse jouster.
Thank you, Ruby.
And that one picture your mommy sent when it was like people jousting, and the guy with long
And just
Oh
for
yes.
to Richard, our friend Richard is
Yes.
joining us now. I just want to say, Richard, even Ruby understands the love of coffee. So just no hate, please. No hate.
What she was trying to say is they went to medieval times a couple of weeks ago, and there was a guy on a horse that was jousting, that reminded her of her Uncle James, because he has long hair,
Oh,
and
yeah.
stuff, and so he was jousting and sword fighting and stuff. So she was saying he's better at jousting than he is making coffee, which is, there we
See,
go.
that's content.
Yes, there you go. Seriously, are you better at jousting or making coffee? here's the polls. The thing. So anyway, so it's the subject for subject or it's thought for thought.
Yeah.
So let's talk about if it was someone posting something about ice cream and they dropped their ice cream on the ground or something. So rather than posting about ice cream, I might post about the emotion that I would feel if I dropped that thing. So, I always think of like Ariel on her rock, like crying, that's devastating. Exactly. Ruby's reenacting Ariel right now behind the scenes. But
The spilling of coffee.
people know what that means. Like
Hmm.
these little moments are connecting moments that people understand visually what devastation looks like when Ariel is crying, but you can connect devastation to you ran out of coffee, you dropped your ice cream cone, you forgot to, or you replied all to that email. Um, so, so there's stuff where there are moments that you can connect with people in these pain points, and telling those stories gives people the opportunity to get to know you. So I'll hand it back to you, Steph.
Yeah, no, no. I mean, that's exactly it. It's like it doesn't always need to be just the fun. Of course, we're giving examples of like, the coffee, the shoes, but the pain point piece. If we want to flip this again and go back to how do we establish credibility? How are we, considered a thought leader in a particular area? How do we demonstrate that our products or our services can help, the attract the right client? Well, again, you can use this fun, a little bit of humor, to also be able to demonstrate that, whether that is through carousels, teachable moments, still educating, talking about the before and after, before you started working with a client, and then after. What were the results? There's still ways to inject a little bit of that with that personality. We're not trying, I'm always sensitive with how I approach this part. It's not that you're not discrediting yourself. In fact, you're just being that honest, that true of how I show up in a meeting is a lot of energy, and I can't, sorry guys, I can't stop that. I tried. It doesn't work because if I'm not me, it just doesn't land the same way. And I think, regardless of the types of content that you're putting out into this world, or regardless what platform you're focusing in on, or if you're on all of them, how you show up, you still need to be you. The second you try to not be yourself, people that know you or have been following you for a while, they know, they feel it, they can see it in the words. And it doesn't matter if you're using AI to help create content, you still need to make it your own at the end of the day. Lots of people are like, oh, this is one thing that Gary Vee shared. He's like, listen, love or hate AI, it's here, man. Like, get on board. Figure it out, or you're going to be left in the dust. It's like he said back in the day. It's like when people thought social media wasn't going to stick around very long, and look at where we're at. It's not going to sure, it might replace or make some jobs, easier, faster, all of that, but it's not going to replace you. And so it's how do you use these tools or these platforms to be able to connect and attract the people that you want to work with. At the end of the day, that's what we need to keep in mind.
Oh,
Back to you,
that
Isabel.
is so good. Because it should be used as a tool, not as a replacement for you. Because um, in fact, the more AI there is, the more people are hungry for real people. And so yeah, you can use it to finesse certain things and that type of stuff. But like, if you can show up as you, it's incredible. Our friend Richard, I know we talk about him a lot, but he has a post from way back when, is something he says on a regular basis: when I try, I fail. When I'm me, I succeed. And we've seen this over and over again. When we try to be something, when we try to show up at that meeting thinking, oh, I got to put on my professional hat, I've got to be buttoned up. And there are, read the room, people. That's what Mary was telling me, conversations she's been having with Ruby about. Just try to read the room. Like, should you say that? Is it time for that? Should we hold steady? Like, and so, so as a, even, as a 10-year-old, she's getting this lesson. And so I would recommend that to people too. Read the room. Like, if you've got to put on something to do that. But when it's just you and your business and it's you and your posts, you should show up as you, because the more people get to know you online and it's the person they meet when they meet you in person, that trust that is built is immeasurable. I mean, the fact that Richard and I over the years had connected so much in conversations and online and showing up, that when we met in person, we already knew each other. And what does that look like for you? So I did want to shout out, I'm going to be being grilled. No, no, that's not it at all. But Richard is hosting a webinar on Thursday that I would love to invite you all to. It's at 9 a.m. I'm sure he'll drop the link on the LinkedIn side, and I'll try to get it into the YouTube and Facebook side. But we are going to be having a business therapy session, and we're going to be talking about your business, if you and your stuff. And if you want to come, we'll be talking about how the process that I've gone through in the last several years about really doing the deep work. I feel like I've done more therapy for my business than I have for myself. Should probably work on that. I should probably work on myself. Anyway, but this idea of how do you dive deep into the why you're doing this, the story that you have, the people that you're wanting to help and work with. And so if you want to sign up for this, a free webinar on Thursday at 9 a.m. And just join us for that conversation. It's going to be Craig Whitehead's going to be joining us as well. And it's just going to be a really great conversation. What we're hoping it will do is get people thinking about their own business, their own content, their own what they're trying to do and be in this world, and how can they really meet those things authentically. I know he hates that A word. I know there's a lot of A words, but authenticity is a hard one to say apparently. And but honestly, it's a way for people to show up as themselves and not have to pretend. So anyway, you'll just have to check it out. So I'll hand things back to you, Steph, for you to be able to close this out for us today. It was fun.
It was fun. But it's always fun, and
It
I think
is.
that's why we just keep coming back. If again, somebody is sitting here watching this on the replay, or even live, it's just a friendly reminder. Lots of people say it, and I know that when Elizabeth and I say it, we mean it. Somebody needs to hear this. Somebody needs to get that friendly tap to say it's okay to show up as yourself. And these are some of the ways that you can do that. Somebody needs to read your post. Somebody needs to read that article. Somebody needs to read that newsletter. Somebody needs to meet you for that coffee or that tea. Drink tea and carry on is a gift that you're going to be making for Richard, Elizabeth, right away. And I just think that these are those friendly reminders that everyone needs. At the end of the day, people do business with people. How do they get to know you? You need to show up as yourself. And yes, that A word has been thrown around a lot. And I think that's part of the reason why people kind of turn their nose up at it, because it's this buzzword. But at the very foundation of what that means, it's be you. Do you. Bet on you is one of my favorite things to say, right? Just like I bet on me 10 years ago when I started Take Roots. I can't imagine what the last 10 years would have been if I didn't do that. And if somebody else is inspired by that to start betting on themselves, then that's great. And that's why we keep showing up. It's for me, and I guess Elizabeth, both of us would probably agree. It's not about the numbers for us. We're not going to be making millions anytime soon on our YouTube channel. But hey, if you're liking it, subscribe. What? But this is the notion of one person needs to hear what you have to say, and it's how you package that up. And if it is true to who you are and why you show up the way you do, and it will start attracting the right people. And there is nothing wrong with injecting fun along the way. It certainly helps us out there that are trying to do maybe content creation off the side of their desk. to be able to go, okay, no, today was a good day. Today I know I helped a person. Today I know I got a comment that I wasn't expecting, or somebody slid into the DMs and said I needed to hear that. Just remind yourself of that and keep going. So, one day, one post at a time, and remember to have fun. And if you've enjoyed this, as I said, I know I was joking before, but please feel free, subscribe to the YouTube channel and join us on Tuesdays here during Cultivate Weekly. We go live on Riverside FM, YouTube, and LinkedIn. You can also follow us on the other platforms. We have a lot of educational content, step-by-step tutorials and other things to keep you motivated as you continue to show up on your content creation journey. So with that, cups up, have a great week, and we will see you next Tuesday.